Rant on Reels. I'm Michael Fooch.
And I'm Xavier Barnett.
On this podcast, we'll be reviewing the movie How to Train Your Dragons 3.
So as you can guess, we're probably going to have spoilers for How to Train Your Dragon and all the other ones that have been previously implemented. So if you don't want to be spoiled, tune off now.
Have you seen the first two?
Yeah, I've seen the first two. I've seen it at work when I worked at the library.
And what were your thoughts on those two?
The first one was, I'm like, okay, it's decent. My problem is the dragons are not cool. Like, dragons are one of my most favorite mythical creatures ever, and the way they're depicted in this film is just horrid. It's a big no thank you. They're dumb, they're stupid, they're like, dragons are supposed to be extremely intelligent, and these ones are just like, yeah, like a dog.
Oh, like a dog. Really? You don't like it when they turn characters that are supposed to be cool into dogs?
Yeah, I don't.
I wonder if we've had this conversation on this podcast before.
We definitely didn't.
when I said they made Bumblebee like a dog, and you're like, that's not that big of a deal.
Well, the difference is I hate Bumblebee and I like dragons, so that's
No,
the big change.
I'm with you. They do really treat them like dogs, not as intelligent creatures, or like intelligent sometimes and not intelligent on others. Mm-hmm. Now, I didn't really like either of the two, the original two, How to Train Your Dragons. I thought the first one was just okay, and the second one was just more than we needed.
Yeah.
So what are your opening thoughts on this one, How to Train Your Dragons 3?
How to Train Your Dragon 3. Boring. Big no thank you. Actually, I'm being unfair because this is a children's movie, so I'll try to put it as an adjective as a child. So, as a child, I can see a child really enjoying this type of movie, right? Like, this is specifically targeted towards children. But as an adult, this is a big no thank you, and I will pretty much unwatchable.
So you think that if you went back 15, 20 years, you would like this movie?
Yeah, as a kid, probably, yeah.
Okay.
I'm saying 4 to 7 range.
It's such a small range for a movie. You know, my opening thoughts are going to be similar to yours. I thought this was very boring. It was a long theater visit. And we got there for previews.
Yeah.
The movie just felt long. It was long and it felt long. The characters I really found were not very developed, and we're seeing the same story arc in all three. Instead of moving the characters forward, we're just seeing the characters stagnant. And I don't really like that.
Our problems never really change.
They don't.
It's pretty much, we don't trust the dragons, so let's hunt them and kill them. And Hiccup's like, no, the dragons are our friends. It's pretty much been every three movies.
And I really find that like the villains, I wasn't a big fan of the villain in this movie. I found the plot really made no sense. And I don't know about you, but did you find a central message in this movie? Because I didn't. That would be my biggest problem with it.
I think the message is maybe it's a big PETA message. We need to love our animals, and if we can't take care of animals, we need to lock them away and leave them all alone. That's pretty much the message.
Right. Well, I guess those are our opening thoughts. All right, let's start with the movie. The movie begins with a raid. So Hiccup and his Vikings from Burke are saving a bunch of other dragons that have been captured.
I'm not gonna lie, the armor actually looked cool. At that point, the armor was cool.
I like this introduction.
I was like, okay.
I thought this might have been the best 5 minutes of a How to Train Your Dragon movie. Hiccup lands on Toothless. He's in this really cool armor. The dude thinks he's like a demon.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of comedy to it. Even how like the dragons were saving the day and like the Vikings were kind of useless. It was interesting. I felt there was some action to go with that comedy, and it's a good reintroduction of some of these characters.
Yeah.
So nothing too crazy with them.
That's another thing about this movie. Like, I forgot most of the characters.
Exactly.
Because they don't resonate with you from, like, the first two. I only know Hiccup and Toothless and the girl that he likes.
What's her name? Yeah,
Astrid.
Astrid, but there you go.
Astrid.
So clearly not that memorable.
Yeah. I just knew who she was. I didn't know I knew her name.
So I don't think there's anything wrong with this introduction to this movie.
Yeah, no, I didn't hate the introduction. I was okay. I was good with it from that part.
So I think it goes wrong as they kind of move away from this introduction. So they arrive back on Burke, and Burke has now become overcrowded with these dragons. And we keep all of the Vikings keep telling to Hiccup that, oh, we're just finding more dragons. There's not enough room. Hunters will always be coming to look for them, or trappers will always be coming to look for them.
Yeah, we're putting them all in one spot, right?
Yeah, we're making it very easy
for them to attack us.
So Hiccup's like, oh, my dad once talked about this hidden world where all the dragons come from. Let's go there.
They never talked about that in the first two, but okay.
Not at all.
That might have been.
But the dad was always going there. That was his end game his entire life.
I thought the dad hated dragons.
He did in the first movie, but then in the second movie he kind of grows to like him. Like all of the Burke people,
Yeah.
right? Burke was always anti-dragon to begin with.
But in the first one, he didn't like. He talked about dragons like he liked them.
No, I think he was going to close the gate forever. Which I don't understand how. Yeah, I don't understand how. I just felt this was a very forced.
Mm-hmm.
Like they didn't know how to start the story, so they're like, "Well, let's just come up with some real no good excuse to start it."
Mm-hmm.
And I want just out of curiosity, why is the solution to run away from the world?
Because they want to make a sanctuary, and because we humans
but they have
don't
a
know how
sanctuary.
Yeah, but it could get attacked, so they went to a different sanctuary.
Okay, I guess.
Just living with dragons.
The other plot that gets developed here, the other story arc that gets developed here, is this marriage between Hiccup and Astrid. Hiccup wants to get married, and Astrid does not. And this will be a continuous
theme
throughout the story.
The movie.
So meanwhile, while this is going on, the dragon trappers are angry. So they call this guy named Grimmel.
Well, that's his name?
Grimmel, yes. And now Grimmel hates dragons. But he has dragons.
Yeah, but his reasoning was so good. Remember why he used the dragons?
Yeah, the dragons work for him.
Yes.
But if you hate I don't I guess that's like slavery, I guess, in a way. I don't know. But he has like one thing that he likes to do, and that's hunt the Night Furies.
Yeah.
Toothless. Right? Like, that's what he wants to do.
was the last surviving Night Fury, right?
So he believed, but he thought he killed them all.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, where has Grimmel been the last, 20 years?
How long? It's been 20 years?
I don't know. He was a kid in the first one. Years, I think 8 years. Okay, 8 years.
Fine. 8 years, fair enough.
Where's he been for the last 8 years?
Yeah, you must have heard that they had a dragon, or maybe he just... Who knows what he's been doing? He was hunting the white versions of the Night Furies? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't.
Good question.
I don't understand it. But either way, when he finds out that there's a new Night Fury, it tickles his fancy, and he decides, yes, I'm going to go after him.
Awesome.
And he's going to use this dragon, the one dragon that the Burkians did not take, as bait.
Yeah.
I'll come back.
Never really went. Well, yeah, we'll go back to that.
I do have a couple questions about that. So, what were your thoughts on Grimmel?
I was like, he does not look very threatening, and his plans weren't the best plans, but it was good enough to trick the other guys. How should I say it? The protagonist. He was able to trick the protagonist pretty well. So we'll see what happens.
We'll talk about his plan in a moment, but I want to kind of talk about. So he releases this white dragon, who we find out is a Light Fury. But now, a Light Fury is just a Night Fury, isn't it? Like, wouldn't he
it's
be
a white
someone?
Night Fury.
But wouldn't that be what Grimmel is trying to attack? So now there isn't just one. There are two, but he's letting one loose.
Yeah, well, he's letting one loose to bait the other one, right?
Okay.
Which is fair enough.
So,
do we have to? My question is, after he uses the thing as bait, can we let? We're gonna go over the part where the very long and dragon parts, those 3 scenes.
So,
God.
Toothless meets this Light Fury, and he falls for her immediately. But she's freaked out by Hiccup because she is anti-human. I guess she's been captured and now is ruined for humans. So Grimmel one night comes and attacks the city of Burke.
Yeah.
And I don't really know what was going on. It made no sense to me.
At this point, you know how like they always have the villain that likes to play with his food before he eats it? I think they're trying to give that idea off for him, but they didn't put any hints towards that.
Okay, but Grimmel comes at night to attack, right?
Yeah.
And he brings his 4 fire venom or acid breathing dragons.
The scorpion dragons? I don't know what they were.
Whatever. He brings them, right? Where were all of the other dragons? This overcrowded Burke. Where were all these other dragons that could smell? Like dragons have like they're animals, right? They smell other dragons.
Like I said, man, they only use the dragon's powers when it's
convenient for their story.
For the plot, right?
And that is so weak writing. Okay. So the Burke people decide to leave to go to the hidden world. Yay! And on their way, they find another area to settle on the way.
It looked exactly the same as the first area.
It really did. They call it New Burke. And we have this crazy long Hiccup sees this light fury again, and we have this crazy long mating sequence.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about it? You seem like you would really want to talk about it.
No, I do not want to talk about it. I would just prefer to skip
it. Was like 10 minutes of the movie. And what we get is like they kind of like jump around each other. They kind of smell each other. Yell, they dance around each other.
Jump on a tree.
Yeah. Toothless draws something in the sand.
Yeah, that was way too long. That drawn. All they really needed to do at that point was say that have her try to fly off, and then Toothless try to chase her, and then say, "Oh, he needs a new tail." That's all they really
can't fly, right? This goes back to the first movie. Toothless cannot fly unless Hiccup's on him. Mm-hmm. So again, she sees Hiccup and flies away, and Toothless can't leave, so he's all sad. So finally, Hiccup's like, "I'm gonna give him the tail. He wants it. He makes this tail." Hiccup flies off. And the two of them, the Light Fury and Toothless, they go to the hidden world. Which leads me to some questions. My first question that I have with this is, what is Grimmel's plan actually?
I see that part. I thought so. The whole time when I was watching, when I thought Grimmel's plan was, he told the Light Fury to separate Hiccup from the Night Fury so he could go off and attack her, but he was never following them at first. No, he just let her go, like, "Oh, I'm just gonna take the Night Fury." His main objective, whole reason why he joins, to go off and be together so I can attack Hiccup. But as we see, like, they could have stayed in that dragon world forever and he'd never see them again.
I know.
So I don't know. It's such a flawed plan.
But moreover than that, how does he know that the Light Fury and Toothless are gonna get together?
Because probably he knows that the animal's loneliness, right? It doesn't have any. Doesn't know. It thinks it's the last one, and then the other second last one is a so-called female. So he's like, "Oh, okay."
But how does he even know that? Okay, so he releases her, right?
Mm-hmm.
How does he know that the Light Fury is actually going to see Toothless? How is he controlling the Light Fury?
That's a good question.
And here's the question. We find out later that the reason that Grimmel can control his dragons is he uses the poison to give it to them to control the dragon, so they would listen to him. Mm-hmm. So why doesn't he give the Light Fury that poison so she has to fall in love with Toothless?
I guess they would know that he's using the poison.
How? They didn't.
Because it'd have the thing in it, right? They all have those little hoisters, and then he puts it inside their heads.
Yeah, but I don't know.
You'd be like, wouldn't you, if you saw that, you'd be like, what's this needle thing doing inside this animal's head? That doesn't seem natural.
I guess that is true. But either way,
it wasn't a good plan.
It was not a good plan. And the other question I have is, how does the Light Fury know about the hidden world?
I have no idea. That's a good question.
So
maybe it came from the hidden world?
That was my process. That was my thinking process. But if that's the case and she gets freed, why wouldn't that be the first place she would go?
Maybe because she wants to repopulate the world.
But you have to presume
Little,
there's more
fury dragons.
there's more night furies or light furies in the hidden world.
Well, we
There-
went there and there weren't any.
We don't know that but we saw like thousands of dragons.
Yeah.
That you tell me that one of them couldn't have been a light fury or a night fury?
Guess not. He's repopulating the world with fury dragons.
Oh yes, but if there's only two, you know what? I don't even want to deal with that.
Yeah, they're gonna be brothers and.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. You got there. For those listeners, if there's only two left and they have 3 children, who are the children going to mate with to repopulate? That's all I'm saying. It makes no sense. So anyways, Grimmel, after he attacks Burke and the Burkians decide to leave, the Burkians kind of attempt to go after Grimmel themselves. Because the Burkians figure out that the trappers are after them. Mm-hmm. So they go, but once again they fall into Grimmel's trap. And one of the twins, Roughnut, is captured. But she is so annoying, Grimmel lets her go, and she leads them right back to New Burke. Mm-hmm. Thoughts on that?
This is where I realize I'm like, this is only funny for like a kid's movie. Like this is purely made for children. So that's when I realized I'm like, what is going on here? And then I'm like, okay, this is definitely for.
And I'll come back to this probably at the end, but like a great kids movie is always a movie that can resonate with an adult.
Yeah.
Like I feel like if you're making a good kids movie, there are themes that adults can take away from it, and I don't think this movie does that job. Is Rough not really that stupid? Like I know she's portrayed as stupid, but is she that stupid?
Yeah, I guess she is.
Anyways, so while that's going on, Hiccup is depressed, and Astrid's like, "Let's go find Toothless." So they take Astrid's dragon, and he smells Toothless's journey into the hidden world.
Yeah,
because dragons are like animals, and they can smell when other dragons are around.
Well, they can smell, and technically, that Astrid's dragon is not an actual dragon. That is a wyvern. You want to know why?
Okay.
The dragon nerd is about to come out of me. So wyverns have their wings as arms, okay, and 2 hind legs. So anything that you see, so the dragons in Game of Thrones, those aren't really dragons. Those are wyverns because they all have arms as wings. A dragon has 2 arms, 2 hind legs, and then wings on the back. That's what the dragon is. And then a drake pretty much has 2 legs, 2 arms, and then no wings on the back.
Okay, I learned something today.
So that's a history dragon lesson from a dragon nerd like myself.
That's fair. I respect that. Respect, man. So, okay, they take Astrid's wyvern.
Yep.
And the wyvern smells Toothless and follows them. So once again, why can't these dragons and wyverns smell Grimmel's dragons when they come and attack?
Yeah, or smell any dragon scent that left the hidden world. Yeah. And how did the dragons forget that they were from the hidden world? Did they just like...
Yeah, and moreover than that, when they actually get to this hidden world, they find Toothless, and they see all these dragons. And Hiccup's all happy to be there. Oh my god, all these dragons, because Hiccup likes dragons. But all these dragons attack the humans. But if the dragons have never seen a human before, why are they so violent?
Because they want to eat it. It looks like food.
Maybe. Yeah, that makes sense, actually.
I don't know what they eat there, though.
So, Toothless, after the dragons see these humans, has to go save the Astrid and Hiccup.
It's funny that they stopped listening to him. Like he was using his alpha abilities like minutes before that, and then he started yelling, and they still kept attacking.
Was it an alpha ability, or was he being crowned king of the dragons?
I don't know, but if you're
either way, it's true. He's the king of dragons.
You gotta listen.
That's actually a really good point. So he's forced to leave the hidden world, and the Light Fury ends up coming with him, and is starting to be, I guess, tolerant of Hiccup. Mm-hmm. But as the two come, we see Grimmel has now taken both of the dragons captive.
Yeah.
and he points some kind of weapon at the Light Fury and forces Toothless to tell all the dragons to follow him because he's the alpha, and puts them all into trappers' cages.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got the final kind of thing, the rescue. So the Burkians attack. They free the dragons. Grimble uses his mind control to
take hold of
the Light Fury, and Toothless and Hiccup chase them. In the process, Toothless gets hit by something and falls to his doom, and Hiccup gets thrown onto the Light Fury.
Yeah.
He rips out the venom, and
then he pulls a Gandalf
and basically says to the Light Fury, "Save Toothless." And
then he lets go.
Grimble fall to their dad, or fall into their dad, and the Light Fury saves Toothless, and then at the end comes back to save Hiccup. And it looks
technically, I don't think he would have died. He just fell in the water.
Yeah, that's a really fall. That water from that height will kill you.
Yeah,
it's like falling on like.
Yeah, but it's a kid's movie. He's not gonna die.
That's true.
They say.
So he Grimble falls to his death. And then we get to our ending. And Hiccup basically tells the dragons to go back to the hidden world. All you dragons need to leave.
Yeah. Because we don't deserve you, dragons.
What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, I guess he's sick and tired of all the problems that the humans and the dragons just can't get along. And this is the third movie. And there's been a guy that's just hates dragons, just wants to kill all of them.
I just think, like, is the message of this movie that humans are so bad there is no point trying to work together? Like, let's just give up? Oh, guys, we have racism in our planet. You know what? We're never going to change. Let's just give up, and everyone... Like, I feel like this is, like, one of our... Like, I don't mean to sound this political, but, like, I think there's a political message to it that we talk about all this immigration issues. Well, you know what? Let's not work on our problems and communicate. Let's just send everyone away.
Or better yet, global warming.
Go back to your home. Or, right? Like, just go back to your homes, right? Like, I just think
we
that's
can't
a bad
stop
message.
it. Just let it kill us.
I vehemently did not like this sequence.
I know you were very adamant about it. That one.
Vehemently, like, why? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, honestly, I thought they were gonna we're gonna try and live together, right? I thought they were gonna bring all the dragons out and then try and teach humans how dragons live. You know what they should do? They should have just took all the dragons and all the other humans that hate dragons, just wipe them all out with the other dragons and only have people that love dragons left.
I don't get it. Like, it makes no sense to me. Like, the dragons outnumber the trappers.
Yeah, by a lot. And they're much more powerful. The traps aren't very sophisticated.
They're not.
Like, most dragons can break out of that. Like, I don't know how they held that one with the giant horns.
And maybe the process you should be learning is inviting people from the entire world to Burke, or New Burke now, and showing them how to work with dragons. How dragons aren't bad.
Yeah, he showed his whole village that hated dragons.
Exactly.
So surely he could probably show the world.
Invite ambassadors. Are there always going to be bad people out there? Sure. But don't let the bad people win. It's a kids' movie. Like to me, that's the message that kids are going home with. Give up. I don't know. I vehemently do not like this. Either way, the movie doesn't end there. They all leave. Hiccup and Toothless say their sad goodbye, and we're supposed to feel emotional, but I don't really think it's that emotional.
Because you don't care for the characters.
I don't even know if that's the reason. I just didn't feel like it was that sad. Like when...
I kind of always knew he could definitely visit him.
Did you feel emotional? Like, honestly?
No.
Now, I'm going to go to another animated movie. How emotional did you feel when Woody and Andy said goodbye?
Oh, that was super emotional.
That's three movies, same kind of characters. In fact, we don't even get a lot of Andy. Andy's in the movie for 13 minutes of screen time. And yet we are so emotionally invested when Andy has to give Woody up. And this movie, these guys are buddies. These guys are in every scene together. They go through way more than Andy and Woody went through, and yet we feel nothing.
That is very true. Well, then again, I have the The nostalgia goggles are full on, and that was the time when I was graduating from high school, and then I had to give up my toys and everything. So I was very
But it's like saying goodbye to your best friend. You haven't had like an old best friend that moved away when you were in elementary school. You didn't bring those kind of things back to
emotions. Well, I just said that it was that happened to me. Oh,
no, it's like best friend.
With Hiccup.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
right.
with Hiccup and thing. Yeah, no, it didn't.
No, of course not.
Didn't resonate with me.
So okay, so we get if the movie doesn't end, we go 7 or 8 years later. We got a marriage sequence between Hiccup and Astrid.
Yeah.
And then 7 years later, we see Hiccup
got busy
and his Astrid and his 2 kids
got
going
2 kids
on a boat towards the hidden world. We see Toothless and the Light Fury with their 3 children.
Whoa, what's going on? I thought this was a kids movie.
And Hiccup or Toothless jumps on the ship, doesn't really recognize a now bearded Hiccup.
Yeah.
And after a second, they all fly around together.
He looked way more badass with the beard than what he didn't have the beard. They should have just gave him a beard at the start of this movie. I would have been like, okay,
and then
we
get like this 5 minutes of them just flying in the air on the different dragons. Or
that wasn't needed. They could have just said, "Oh, I remember you," and then happily ever after.
Yeah, a nice little hug or just on the dragon for like 30 seconds.
Yeah, like have them like go, "Oh," and then okay. How to Train a Dragon 3, it's over.
So we
that was the problem with one of the movies. Sorry about that.
No, go ahead.
That's the problem with the movie, though. There's a lot of sequences that was not needed. Like all the scenes, the maiden scenes between Hiccup and the Light Dragon Fairy. It's a no thank you.
The length of the movie, you could have cut some scenes and made it better.
Like they're flying together, and then one scene just showed like Toothless's new power that he obtained, and like that's the only important part of it. But like other than that, the way the sequence to find it was just, oh my god, no. No.
So we've already answered some of my questions as we went through this, but here's one question. So in the end, we find out that all of the dragons have left the Earth. I don't understand how this happened, because in the beginning of the movie, the dragons that were captured by the trappers were not dragons of Burke. They're other dragons from the world.
Yeah.
So clearly there are more dragons on the Earth that weren't in Burke.
Mm-hmm. So from different parts of the world, right?
Exactly. What about all the other dragons on the Earth? Why are they still...
Maybe before when he drove, what happened was there was like the last caravan, and Toothless flew around the world using his alpha powers to bring all the dragons away.
We find out in this movie that he can't fly for a long time. He needs to take a lot of breaths. Remember, that's why when Grimmel's figured out where they were going, which direction they were going.
Night Furies can't fly. Yeah, but they could take rest. They can rest.
I stick with my point. It makes no sense.
Obviously. I know it doesn't make any sense. I'm just trying to make sense of it.
It's a stupid plot.
It's not good when I have to make up a dumb excuse for it.
It's true, right? All right, my last question really on this movie, and you can feel free to ask me any. I don't understand this movie, the success of this movie. This movie has a 91% on Rotten Tomatoes and an 89% audience approval. What the hell am I missing?
Oh, I'll tell you exactly what you're missing. It is not for us. This is strictly a kids movie. And like I said, for kids, it'll resonate with kids. But, because like I remember when I at my work, when I worked at the library and we'd show these type of movies, right? The kids ate these movies up, right? Because it's funny to the kids. Like, some of the funny scenes, kids would love that. For me, it's a no thank you. Like, kids aren't going to really look that hard into plot points or anything like that. I know I didn't when I was a kid, so they just want to see, oh, there's Toothless and Hiccup. Oh, he's fighting the dragons. Look, they're cool. Well, the dragons aren't cool. I don't know what kids think they look cool, but, like, those are the worst designs for dragons I've ever seen. Like a fat dragon. You never seen a fat dragon before in your life. Sorry, I'm just kidding. I'm going off topic here, but like,
hey, but I ask you this question. I am not going to disagree with what you said, but the kids don't write the reviews.
That's true.
91% of critics like this movie, and 89% of adults like this movie.
I think adults. Okay, I can't explain.
That's what I understand. What am I missing? All right, before we get into ratings, we really criticized this movie. Do you have any Oh, sure. Do you have any questions first?
No, I don't have any questions.
All right, so what are your positives? What are things you liked about this movie? You personally, not you as a kid.
Oh, me personally, nothing. This movie's unwatchable. I'll never watch this movie again. I hate how the dragons look. I hate how they don't like just. Oh my god! Don't even get me started. Just the dragons are just so terrible, and they do not look cool at all.
I guess I have two likes. One is it is for kids at the end of the day, and I do like the first 5 minutes. I really do. It was good. Like it was interesting. I was engaged. We have the opposite kind of Bumblebee argument. I like the first 5 minutes. You don't like the fact that the dragons are dogs. But this movie didn't have the magic of Disney. It was lacking that magic.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what's your rating of this movie? What do you give
it? 2 scores. As me personally, it's a 2 out of 10. For a kids movie, I'd give it a 7. Like if you're a kid, you'll really enjoy this.
I feel like that's really high for a kids movie, even.
Like if I'm a kid, I don't know.
I guess that's a low. I guess all kids would say 7 to a movie. I guess that would be a low score for a kid.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna go 2.5 on this movie. It is unwatchable. I would not want to watch it again. Oh boy, that's all I can say. That's it. I have nothing nice to say about this movie.
Huh.
All right, that's it for How to Train Your Dragons.
And that was our rant on How to Train Your Dragon 3.
Be sure to like and subscribe to our other videos, and be sure to make some comments on what you thought of our review.